More unfilmed scenes from Foundation, this time from Season 3's premiere episode. David S. Goyer, the showrunner for the first 3 seasons, had posted the unfilmed scenes on his website, and while this is speculation, I believe one of the reasons he posted them was to gauge interest in potential spin-offs. In interviews, he mentioned there might be a Foundation TV show spin-off, a limited series featuring robots. The source material for a spin-off would be Isaac Asimov's robot novels, which Asimov later consolidated with the Foundation novels. And the unfilmed scenes from the Season 3 premiere provide material for a potential spin-off, with the scene taking place 328 years before the timeline of Season 3, in the Great Library on Trantor, which eventually would become the hiding place of the Second Foundation. The original script gives us stage direction, telling us that the Great Library will burn to the ground in a few years. Now, maybe that's a reference to the Starbridge collapse, which damaged the library. In the Foundation books, there is no Starbridge, and after the mule's identity is discovered in the books, the Foundation is able to protect the library. On the TV show, as we watched, the mule's identity is completely different, and Gail's vision that she's had over and over of battling who she thinks is the mule, the warlord of Calgon, takes place in the Great Library, although she didn't recognize it as such. Demerzel recognizes it when she shares Gail's vision. For details on how Demerzel did that, watch my recap of Episode 6. In the original script, Harry's foster son, Raish, goes to find Harry in his office at the library. Instead, he finds Demerzel. Now, she had gone to Harry's office looking for the person who circulated a banned tract, analyzing the rise and fall of empires using a new method of analysis called psychohistory. Now, she tells Raish that the author and anyone caught reading it could be put to death. And we saw that happen in the very first episode of the series. Master Orleo, the painter, had a copy of the tract in his quarters and was put to death by Cleon 13. The original script tells us Harry circulated the tract on purpose to lure Demerzel into his plan. So this unfilmed scene fills in details about the reveal in Episode 6, in which we found out Demerzel's memories became the data set for psychohistory. Now, in the unfilmed scene, Harry shows Demerzel the Prime Radiant and describes it as a 4-dimensional object and a quantum computer. Given present-day inputs, it can spit out the future using Harry's calculations. He provides a proof of concept by showing that it accurately predicts the Gold Horse Rebellion during the Entun Dynasty, about a half-century in the past. Now, all records of the rebellion were destroyed as a state secret, so the prediction shows that the calculations work. However, Harry wants a larger data set. Perfect information, not half-truths written by the victors, redacted and censored. Demerzel realizes what he's asking. Harry shows her a book, The Positronic Brain, which Raish had brought to Harry. Now, the book was compiled using the shared consciousness of robots. So it was written by a robot, essentially, but not just one robot, because the memories are shared. Demerzel, who's about 20,000 years old, didn't participate in writing the Positronic Brain book. Now, we were told why in the Season 3 finale when Callie and her robot companion on the moon discussed the fact that Demerzel could not clasp. And we all know that's because it would overwrite Cleon the First programming, and Demerzel could not allow that. In the unfilmed scene, Demerzel wants to know what she would receive in exchange for donating her memories. Harry says psychohistory could be used to preserve Empire for as long as possible, or spare it the most violent endgame. Demerzel replies, "You thought I wouldn't decline the opportunity to preserve Empire." And Harry tells her, "I suspect you can't decline it given your programming parameters." Demerzel wants to know who would keep the device. Harry says, "I'd just as soon keep it for now." Demerzel tells him it would belong to Empire. In fact, it already does. "You must know that someday I will come to you and claim it." Harry replies, "And won't that be an interesting day?" So that's a reference to season 2, in which Demerzel and Brother Day, who at the time was Demerzel's lover, went to Terminus and met the AI of Harry Seldon in the vault, and that's where Demerzel eventually claimed the Prime Radiant. But there are 2 copies of the Radiant. The other is in Gale Dornick's possession, and we learned in season 2 as well that although there are 2 copies, they're the same object. Now that goes along with the Radiant being a 4-dimensional object. It's widely theorized by scientists that the 4th dimension is time. So it's appropriate that a quantum computer that purports to predict the future would be 4-dimensional. Now, the original script also contains a brief scene of Demerzel using the Prime Radiant aboard the Imperial flagship, just as she and Brother Dawn, about to become Day Cleon 25, go to Clarion Station to confront the Galactic Council. The Radiant is showing a red crisis node, and Demerzel tells Zagreus to fetch Empire. Now, cut to Brother Dawn on the viewing deck of the flagship. He complains to Zagreus that jump gates are effing inconvenient, and Dawn continues to complain that they're forced to hail a ride like the rest of the galaxy, since losing their slave workforce of spacers who were genetically augmented by the Empire to fold space and time as navigators for the Empire's jump ships. Now, in the books, the spacers aren't slaves, and they genetically augmented themselves. In the unfilmed scene, Brother Dawn asks where the Galactic Council vote stands. As we watched in the episode, the Galactic Council ended up voting with Brother Dawn to ally with the traitors to try to weaken the Foundation. So, in my view, these scenes give us potential spin-off material featuring the robots, and maybe a spin-off featuring Brother Dawn, Cleon 25. There has to be a reason why his nanites quit working after the airlock blew and he was floating around in space for several days. Now, even after he was picked up by the Mule spaceship and revived, the nanites didn't kick in. My theory is that maybe he died and was given a new body by Callie without nanites. There's an additional unfilmed scene from the premiere episode that I'll discuss in the next video. Now, all of these unfilmed scenes were posted by David S. Goyer on his website, but they're no longer available. Now, I found them on the Internet Archive. David S. Goyer isn't the showrunner for season 4, but maybe he'll be developing spin-offs based on the TV show and the robot novels. There may be issues with obtaining the rights from Isaac Asimov's estate, so maybe they just don't have the rights to use all the material from the books. But the Cleonic Dynasty, for example, is David S. Goyer's creation and not from the books. So the original material could be used for spin-offs as well. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.